If you're over 50, you've tried supplements, changed your diet, and still feel like your digestion isn't improving, your cholesterol isn't moving, or hunger keeps showing up throughout the day, today I want to show you a much simpler solution than you might expect, and one you've probably been overlooking: oats, used the right way. I'm Dr. Gabriel Mena, and I'm going to explain something that even surprises many people. In very specific ways, oats can offer more benefits than several expensive supplements. The problem isn't oats, it's how you're using them. What's most surprising is how much confusion there is today. You open social media and see all kinds of opinions: that oats are bad, that they make you gain weight, that they're harmful, that you shouldn't eat them. But the reality is very different once you understand how they actually work inside your body. That's why in this video I'm going to walk you step by step, from the moment oats enter your mouth to what happens when they reach your intestines, so you truly understand the process. And let me tell you in advance, there are two effects at the end that surprise most of my patients. Some time ago, I saw a 62-year-old patient who told me, "Doctor, I do everything right, but I'm always craving food and never feel satisfied." We adjusted something as simple as how she was consuming oats, and within a few weeks, she noticed less hunger, more control, and a sense of well-being she hadn't experienced before. Oats are not an ordinary food when you take a closer look. They have a unique property thanks to a type of soluble fiber, especially a compound called beta-glucan. When it comes into contact with water, it forms a gel-like substance in your digestive system. And what does that gel do? First, it increases volume in your stomach, sending a direct signal to your brain that you're full. But it's not just a physical sensation, it also triggers hormonal responses that help regulate your appetite. Here's one of the most common mistakes: thinking you need a full bowl to get that effect. You don't. With a small amount, even just a couple of well-used tablespoons, you can achieve this benefit without overloading on calories. On top of that, this gel slows down digestion, creating a more stable and controlled process. Your body moves at a steadier pace without sharp spikes. The result? Less anxiety, fewer cravings, better control over your eating, and a more balanced state of mind. That's why when some people start using oats correctly, they feel like they're losing weight. Not because it's a miracle food, but because it helps regulate that constant urge to eat. Now, many people worry when they hear that oats contain starch, immediately thinking about blood sugar spikes, insulin, and weight gain. But this usually happens when oats are consumed in excessive amounts, as often promoted in certain places. When used in the right quantity and properly integrated into a balanced diet, the story changes completely. You feel more satisfied, more in control, and develop a more stable relationship with food. Another key point is what happens with cholesterol. This is where oats have one of their most interesting effects. That same component, beta-glucan, works in the small intestine by binding to certain substances, which can make it harder for some fats and cholesterol to pass into your bloodstream. This means your body may better manage how much fat it absorbs. It's not a magic fix and doesn't replace other healthy habits, but it can be a powerful tool to support balance. By reducing the amount of fat absorbed, your body may also produce fewer of the particles that transport cholesterol in the blood. And in some cases, this helps maintain more stable levels. Now, it's important to understand something clearly. Adding oats alone doesn't guarantee your cholesterol will automatically drop. But it can absolutely be part of a broader strategy to improve your health. If this information is helping you so far, I invite you to subscribe to the channel and join me on this journey, because here I share simple, practical tools that can truly make a difference in your well-being. Now, let me be very clear with you. If you have a family history of high cholesterol, oats alone won't fix it. But if you're dealing with insulin resistance, then yes, they can help, and significantly. Because that fiber we've been discussing slows down how quickly glucose enters your bloodstream. The same applies if you have fatty liver or metabolic syndrome. Is it a cure? But it's a meaningful support within a well-structured diet. In other words, oats are not magic. They're a practical, accessible tool that, when used correctly, can even compare to fiber supplements, without the high cost or side effects. And here's something I want you to remember: if you use them incorrectly, you won't see results. But if you use them properly, they can make a real difference. This has a clear physical and biological explanation. Think of oats as a sponge in your intestines, helping trap what your body doesn't need in excess. It's not about eliminating fats, your body needs them, but about regulating how they're absorbed. Now let's talk about glucose, because this is key. That gel formed by oats slows down carbohydrate absorption, even the carbs they contain themselves. What does that mean for you? More stable blood sugar levels, fewer insulin spikes, no sudden energy crashes after eating, and less need to constantly reach for something sweet. I remember a 58-year-old patient who told me, "Doctor, I eat breakfast and an hour later I'm hungry again." We adjusted his breakfast by adding a small portion of oats combined with protein and healthy fats, and within days, he was finally staying full for hours. But here's a very common mistake you need to avoid. If you eat oats along with white bread, honey, excessive fruit, or sugars, don't expect results. You're overloading your body with carbohydrates. But when you use oats in a balanced way, that's when they truly shine. That ability to slow digestion, thanks to beta-glucan, is what allows oats to influence your metabolism. It's not just about what they provide nutritionally, but how they change the way your body processes food. Now let's move to something few people fully understand, yet it's essential: what happens in your colon. Because of their high fiber content, oats aren't fully digested in the small intestine. When they reach the colon, a very important process begins. Your gut bacteria, key to your health, use that fiber as fuel. This is where oats act as a prebiotic, supporting beneficial bacteria like lactobacilli and bifidobacteria. And what happens when you nourish your microbiota properly? Greater bacterial diversity, lower inflammation, a stronger immune system, and the production of important compounds like short-chain fatty acids. One of these, butyrate, is especially powerful. It helps reduce inflammation, protects your gut lining, and has been linked to benefits in conditions like irritable bowel syndrome and intestinal inflammation. And the most interesting part is that your body produces it naturally when you feed those bacteria correctly. In addition, the combination of soluble and insoluble fiber improves bowel movement. This means less constipation, smoother digestion, and fewer issues like hemorrhoids. Your gut starts working naturally, without strain. From a preventive perspective, there's also evidence suggesting that a good fiber intake is associated with a lower risk of colon-related issues. It's not a guarantee, but it clearly shows that what you eat has a real impact. In the end, it all comes down to something simple: less inflammation, better digestion, and improved internal balance. And that directly affects your cardiovascular health. Because when you improve blood sugar control, reduce inflammation, and support your microbiota, you're also supporting your heart. This translates into more flexible arteries, better cholesterol management, improved insulin sensitivity, and overall lower risk of conditions like heart attacks or high blood pressure. But let me make one thing clear: oats are not the only piece of the puzzle. They are important, yes, but always within a balanced lifestyle. Now, while oats have many benefits, they're not perfect. If you consume too much or your gut isn't ready, you may experience bloating and gas. Because that fiber is fermented by your gut bacteria. And if there's an imbalance or you overconsume, that fermentation can become uncomfortable. That's why I always recommend starting slowly. Give your body time to adapt. Begin with small amounts and gradually increase based on how you feel. As Dr. Gabriel Mena, I've seen this many times. I remember a 62-year-old patient who stopped eating oats because they didn't sit well. We adjusted the quantity and preparation, and within weeks, not only did the bloating disappear, but her digestion improved significantly. There are also combinations that help, and others you should avoid. For example, pairing oats with natural yogurt or high-quality kefir can further support your gut health. But avoid combining them with large amounts of fruit, as that can increase fermentation and discomfort. Another key detail: always choose certified gluten-free oats. Not because oats naturally contain gluten, but because they are often contaminated during processing when stored with wheat. This small change can make a big difference, especially if you're sensitive. And now we reach the most important part: how to use them correctly. This is where most people go wrong. Oats are not a miracle solution on their own, but when used properly, they can help transform your health. The ideal amount is 2 to 3 tablespoons per day. You don't need more. In fact, more can work against you. The key is how you integrate them. Think of oats as a complement, not the main part of your meal. You can add them as a topping to Greek yogurt, for example. You can even lightly toast them to give them a delicious crunch. You can also prepare them soaked, what many call overnight oats, using milk or a plant-based alternative with a touch of cinnamon. Another practical option is to grind them into flour and use them to make simple recipes like pancakes, mixing them with eggs and a bit of banana. It's a quick, healthy, and tasty alternative. That said, there are things I strongly recommend avoiding. Instant ultra-processed oats, sugary mixes, syrups, and industrial products. Also avoid powdered versions with added oils. The best option is always simple and natural. Now don't forget something essential. Your daily fiber goal should be between 25 and 30 grams. Oats are just one part of that, but they are one of the most efficient and accessible sources. It may not sound flashy or exciting. It doesn't come in a fancy package or promise miracles. But when used correctly, it can help control your appetite, stabilize your blood sugar, improve cholesterol, support your microbiota, protect your colon, and promote healthier aging. In simple terms, it acts like a smart sponge inside your body, or like a silent gardener taking care of your gut without you even noticing. I remember a phrase from a commercial when I was a child: "It shows." And it's true. When you start making better decisions about your health, your body reflects it, and others can see it too. And if you've made it this far, I want to invite you to do something important. If this information is helping you, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and share this video with someone who needs it. There are many people going through the same struggles, and this could truly make a difference in their lives. I also invite you, from the heart, to take a moment to thank God for your life, for your body, and for the opportunity to learn how to care for yourself better each day. That moment of gratitude also heals. Here in Dr. Gabriel Mena Space, we are truly grateful to support you on your journey toward better health, with simple, practical habits that really work. Tomorrow we'll have a new video created just for you, to help you feel better, with more energy and well-being. Here, you'll always find clear, relatable, and useful information, because your health truly matters.